This is Nationwide, reaching you on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Lami Ali. We begin with the civil service. 4 newly appointed permanent secretaries have been sworn in to fill existing vacancies in the federal civil service. The swearing-in ceremony performed by President Muhammadu Buhari preceded the weekly meeting of the Federal Executive Council. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu brings us the details.
Emerged from a rigorous eligibility exercise conducted for directors in the Federal Civil Service, comprising a written examination, ICT competency test, as well as an interactive session with a broad spectrum of stakeholders in the public and private sectors, the new permanent secretaries represent states where vacancies existed. They are Dr. Mary Ada Ogbe from Benue State, Malam Shehu Ibrahim Jigawa State, Kacholom Shanti Daju Plateau State, and Beatrice J.D. Agba, the Solicitor General of the Federation from Edo State. The brief but colorful swearing-in ceremony, conducted in compliance with the COVID-19 safety advisory, was devoid of any presidential address. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemi Esong, however, speaks on government's expectations from the new appointees.
I am sure that they're going to give their best because they went through a very rigorous process to emerge as federal permanent secretaries. And so I'm confident that by the grace of God, they will put in their best, a lot of hard work, a lot of integrity to ensure that government policies are executed as expected.
The permanent secretaries spoken to by NTA News thanked President Muhammadu Buhari for finding them worthy of their appointment and promised to live above board in discharging their responsibilities.
Well, I feel humbled to be given such a responsibility, and I know that to whom much is given, much is expected, and I trust God to do my best to serve the fatherland in compliance with the mandate of the government.
We are going to give it all to ensure that all that especially 9 priorities of Mr. President, that we fulfill them, and that any other policy or any other agenda of government is seriously, implemented to the latter by all of us.
I assure the President of my unalloyed support, loyalty, to defend the integrity of this country and to ensure that all the policies and programs of government are translated down to the citizens for whom we are working for.
Well, I assure of my continued loyalty to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will commit the duties of my office with diligence and with a sense of commitment and professionalism.
Permanent secretaries are the chief administrative as well as accounting officers of the ministries they are assigned to, and therefore manage and coordinate day-to-day operations, advise ministers, and indeed responsible for the efficient, effective, and economical management of such ministries. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says his presidential ambition is born out of his passion to assist Nigeria in realizing the dreams of the nation's founding fathers and to also secure the future of the next generation. The Vice President stated this in Ogun State while meeting with delegates and leadership of the All Progressives Congress in continuation of his consultation ahead of APC presidential primary. Yemi Dalemo reports.
Vice President, who was accompanied by the state governor, Dapo Abiodun, says he is in the state to consult with leadership of the party and other stakeholders about his ambition.
After 7.5 years of serving as Vice President, being able to see for myself, being able to observe for myself what we have done right, what we could have done better, and various other things, I think that when the opportunity now arose for me to decide whether or not to run as president of Nigeria, I had only one question to ask myself. And that question is whether I will be faithful to my oath to the Federal Republic of Nigeria and to the people of Nigeria, to serve with all my heart and to serve with all my might. That's the only question I have to ask myself. Should our children, should I not do the best I can, having been given this position for our children and for coming generations?
Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun appreciated the Vice President for consulting with his people and assured him of the party's support in the state.
You serve your God meritoriously. In all things, you've been very loyal enough. You've demonstrated capacity and capability.
Other stakeholders, including the Akarigbo of Remo Land, Oba Babatunde Ajayi, prayed God to grant him success in his endeavor. The Vice President thereafter held a closed-door meeting with other stakeholders at the Presidential Lodge at Abeokuta and paid homage to Alaki and Paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oba Aridotun Aremu Gbadebo, where he formally informed the monarch about his intention to contest the 2023 presidential election. In Abeokuta, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
Now, Senate is considering a bill that seeks to repeal and enact the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. The bill, sponsored by Senator Jibrin Issa, has passed second reading and seeks to provide a comprehensive law against violence in private and public life. The bill also seeks to prohibit all forms of violence against persons. It provided maximum protection and effective remedies for victims and adequate punishment of offenders.
Of certain offences in the Act, especially Section 22(1) makes the punishment provided inadequate. In view of the rampant cases of chemical attacks, such as acid and other substances, offenders under this section should not be given an option of fine. Similarly, the term of imprisonment needs an upward review.
In the homes, in schools, in markets, everywhere, there are rising cases of violence in this country. So the law has to be made in such a way to meet up with such violent situations.
To eliminate violence in private and public life, prohibit all forms of violence against persons, and provide maximum protection and effective remedies for victims and punishment of offenders, and for related matters 2022 second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters for further legislative action to report back within 4 weeks.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill, sponsored by Senator Ibrahim Abdullahi Mbaba from Sokoto South, also passed second reading. The Senate Chief Whip, Ojus Okalu, has called for collective efforts of all Nigerians in the sustenance of peace and national unity of the country, regardless of cultural background. He stated this while disclosing his stand over the 2023 presidential race. Ifeoma Dukole tells us more.
Senator Oji Uzokalo, while addressing journalists on his stand in the 2023 presidential race at his Camp Neyas country home, Iwere, noted that he has not dropped his intention to run for the presidency, but praised that the party zones the slot to the southeast region.
I have never dropped, I didn't drop, and I will never drop. My advice was for our brothers from South, and Southwest. They came out in mass to run for president, which is not right. If we want to talk about equity, everybody from South, and Southwest should drop and support us.
The former governor of Abia State, however, noted that every Nigerian is an important tool to the development of the country and sued for unity among all geopolitical zones.
The unity of the country should be well managed to benefit of all Nigerians.
The Senate Chief Whip had earlier interacted with the representatives of the various villages in his hometown as they continued to praise him for his quality representation in the Senate. In Umuahia, Ifeoma Dukole, NTA News.
Now, the Imo State government has held a mass burial for victims of fire explosion at an illegal refinery in Abeze in Ohaji Egbema local government area of Imo State. Beatrice Anyam reports.
Burial for the victims of the fire explosion at the illegal refinery in Abeze in Ohaji Egbema local government area of Imo State was held at the scene of the incident. Governor Hope Uzodinma, represented by the Ohajiebema Interim Management Committee Chairman Marcellinus Amadioha, describes the incident as unfortunate and calls on relevant stakeholders to put measures in place to forestall future occurrence. He says the whole environment will be fumigated to enable residents of the area go about their normal businesses.
Government will do everything to make sure this illegal bunkering business will stop.
We believe in disaster prevention. So as an agency, we will embark on more sensitization of the youths.
Government to see what they can do to at least provide job opportunities for our people.
From Ohajiebema local government area, Beatrice Anyam, NTA News.
The Accident Investigation Bureau Nigeria (AIB) has released 4 preliminary reports on serious incidents and accidents that occurred between November 2021 and January 2022 involving aircraft owned and operated by United Nigeria Airlines Limited, Max Air, Air Peace and the Nigerian Police Air Wing. A statement by the General Manager, Public Affairs, AIB, Tunji Oketumbi, confirmed that the details of the preliminary reports can be found on the Bureau's website, www.aib.gov.ng. It is to be noted that preliminary reports are not the final reports, as they only contain details of the initial facts, discussions and findings surrounding the occurrences, which include information gathered from witness statements, flight recorders, health and usage monitoring system data, flight data monitoring, and preliminary inspection of the accident sites and the wreckage. AIB therefore says investigations on these serious incidents and accidents are still ongoing, and final reports will be released as the conclusion of the respective investigations. Now, the Minister of Transportation, Chibuike Rotimi Amechi, says reconstruction of the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri rail line narrow gauge project will be followed by a standard gauge along the same route. The minister gave the assurance while consulting with Imo State Governor and party members on his presidential aspiration.
It was homecoming for the minister's party members from states in the southeast trooped out in their numbers to welcome him. The minister, who commended the industrial drive of the Igbo, says federal government plan of reconstructing the Port Harcourt to Maiduguri rail corridor is aimed at reviving the Eastern Rail Corridor, boosting internal trade and massive job creation.
We are currently constructing the rail from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. And that rail, out of my own volition, I brought it to Owerri. I took this rail to Ubiba, where we have an industrial park. And I told you, from here to Owerri is not too far. Can you tell me how many kilometers from here to Owerri? They say 45 kilometers. I say extend it to Owerri.
He made clarification on the choice of narrow gauge for now.
Why narrow gauge? The reason for narrow gauge is see, by the time we finished costing the standard gauge, it was $14 million. If I tell you that we can get $14 million before we leave out the line. So what did I do? We finished costing the standard gauge. We got the approval, we have kept it with the Minister of Transport. So that when the new minister comes, we can continue. But instead of leaving you without anything, I asked for the reconstruction of the narrow gauge, pending when we get money to do the standard gauge.
Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, assured the Igbos of President Muhammadu Buhari's quest to develop the region by carrying out infrastructural projects.
So our dear President Muhammadu Buhari, who is the leader of the party, will not disappoint in Igbo.
APC members from Abia, Imo, Anambra, Ebonyi and Enugu states were on hand to receive the minister and his entourage.
We now join Kende Lagos for more reports on Nationwide. It's over to you, Kende.
Thank you, Lami, and welcome to Lagos. Nigeria is looking to boost its democratic credentials by posting another success at the periodic general election, thereby extending the current civilian rule to 24 unbroken years. Among other factors expected to aid this quest is the effective voter participation anchored on voter education. Adene Taiwo tells us more in this report.
With their thumb
Eligible Nigerians periodically empower a selected few to run the affairs of the country by giving them political mandate transferred through the ballot. Why they do this, how they go about doing it, and who they should give such power to are critical considerations which must be driven by proper information among the voting populace.
At 61 years old, Eugene Akukwe has participated in several elections, his first voting experience coming during the election that brought in President Shagari in 1979.
I used to hear medians, either newspaper, radio, television. I saw some arguments, they are arguing on issues. So that's the area that I used to support the one that and do.
A random sampling of Lagos residents to determine how much they know about the process and actors involved in the coming polls yielded different responses.
I don't know much about them, but at least just to vote.
The information about the candidate, first and foremost, I get them from newspapers, from television, listen to news. And for the registration also, yes, I try to go online to get to INEC portal.
On the part of the Independent National Electoral Commission, voter education is a priority in order to scale up the number of PVC collection as a first step towards encouraging popular participation.
We will also have a reduction in void vote, because if they know how to cast their votes appropriately, they will be able to cast their vote and it will not be wasted.
In the build-up to the 2023 general elections, they say voter education must enjoy multi-stakeholders' attention.
Using all avenues you have to use to disseminate messages. But what of the stakeholders? What of politicians? What of the media? What of the traditional rulers? These are agents of voter education.
For as long as the validity of the process is enhanced when the voter knows how to register and complete the ballot process, all hands must be on deck at various levels to provide such education. In Lagos, Adini Itaiwo, NTA News.
The onset of rainfall usually makes people living in flood-prone areas apprehensive because of the attendant effect. Amaka Owo, who visited one of such areas in Lagos, Agungi area along the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway, now reports.
Agungi is a place that usually experiences flooding anytime it rains, and according to residents, the situation makes access to the area a Herculean task, resulting in double cost in transportation fare.
If there is anywhere the government or let me say the state can help, they have been pushing motor throughout the road today.
When it rains, we look for another way to go wherever we want to go to. That's how we survive around here.
When I was coming, I had to go like this, come in the flood and all those things, so I can't come in straight.
82-year-old Ahmed Lawal, who resides in the area, says the annual menace has affected businesses while public transporters are taken out of work as motorbikes become a better option.
They don't stop the water for that quarter, for down here. At any time when the rain falls, all the houses, water go enter.
With this level of flooding happening here at this time of the year, one can better imagine what the situation will be like at the peak of the rainy season. But the question now is, how ready are the residents for this impending danger? In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news live broadcast on our website at nta.ng/live and all the social media handles displayed on your screen for update. Nationwide continues after this break with Comfort in Enugu.
The Nigerian aviation sector is rapidly growing with the construction of new international airport terminals in several regions of the country. The new Murtala Mohammed International Airport has an estimated passenger increase of 30 million annually and 15 million for Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Malam Aminu Kano International Airport is also expected to open new frontiers for the region with more travel capacity for the annual Hajj, while the new Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, avails more business opportunities connecting the the industrial cities in the region to the world. These new terminals beat world-class standards with enabling infrastructure that aid air travel, tourism, and the eventual growth of the country's GDP.
Open up commerce and, of course, link us to international societies.
People from international community will come here to do business, and then that will bring in more revenue to the states.
Now, distances can be seamlessly covered as Nigeria keeps raising its bar to suit global infrastructure standards.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Preview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk, app for iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
Horse racing is a sport, a culture, and a celebration. The Turf Club Federation of Nigeria, TCFN, brings this and more to Sokoto in this year's West African International Derby to celebrate the 15th coronation anniversary of His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, the life patron of TCFN. His Royal Highness the Etinope Alhaji Dr. Yahya Abubakar will, by the grace of God, raise the turf of Shehu Kangiwa Racecourse Sokoto on the weekends of Friday the 3rd of June 2022 to the 5th of June 2022 and Friday the 10th of June 2022 to the 12th of June 2022. TCFN will, by this second edition of its West African International Derby, not only celebrate a remarkable royal father, but one of its own pillars in the person of the Sultan himself, who serves as the Grand Patron of the Federation.
A new edition of TV Guide is out, exclusively with Professor Umar Garba Dambata, Executive Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC.
We have unveiled the 622 as a toll-free line through which consumers can be able to lodge their complaints. And we have introduced the 112 as a national emergency number.
This edition is a compendium of mind-blowing stories for your reading pleasure, ranging from technology, entertainment, economy, media, politics, family, and lots more. Pick up your copy and get abreast with issues and trending features within our space. TV Guide, very incisive, very educative and compelling. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
And welcome to Enugu Network Center. Nigeria has ratified and domesticated several United Nations and International Labour Organization ILO conventions instrumental in the fight against child labour and trafficking in persons. In line with the mandates of the Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment for every state office of the ministry to establish a state steering committee on child labour according to ILO standard, the Enugu State Committee is having a dialogue with the state government on ways of adaptation to the National Action Plan. Susan Eze reports.
The National Policy on Child Labour is a response to the growing concern and determination of the federal government to eliminate child labour, especially its worst forms, pointing out that prevalence of child labour creates a reservoir of children for easy recruitment into violent crimes and other deviant behaviours. The Enugu State Controller, Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment, is however convinced that if all states adopt the National Action Plan for the elimination of child labour, the battle will soon be won.
The increasing prevalence presents a serious threat to the future of our children and the overall development of the nation, we believe that multi-sectoral approach will totally eliminate child labor in any state.
The Enugu State government assured the team of its readiness to key into the national policy plan.
We know that the future of this country depends on the young people, and therefore we must pursue a policy that will continue to engage this critical mass that will form the bedrock of our future.
The National Action Plan for the Elimination of Child Labor has a time frame from 2021 to 2025. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
The Nigerian Hunters Council has reiterated its readiness and determination to combat crimes and insecurity in localities of operation. The Enugu State Commander of the Council stated this at a state rally organized to appreciate the Night Assembly for passing the Nigerian Hunters Council bill into law. Chimaroke Ubu was at the rally and now reports.
Nigerian Hunters Council is a paramilitary organization established by Nigerian Hunters Council Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Biodun Olujimi. The council was set up to tackle insecurity in various communities, bushes and forests to create safe haven for local communities. Having passed first, second and third readings in the red chambers and signed into law, the Enugu State Wing of the Council organized a rally to appreciate the Ninth Assembly for passing the bill into law and solicit the attention of President Muhammadu Buhari to assent to the bill to enable them complement the existing security structures in the country.
Our men, our gallant officers are everywhere in the nook and cranny of the country. Our presence has been felt in all the communities, in all the states of the Federation.
According to the state commander, the council will collaborate effectively with other sister security agencies. He therefore called on interested citizens willing to join the council to do so for the safety and peace of the country.
We are encouraging all the 17 divisional officers to mobilize their people at all levels in their local governments.
The Nigerian Hunters Council is present in the 36 states of the Federation with their membership structure derived from traditional settings of various communities. In Enugu, Chimaroke Ugu, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from this end is back to Lami in Abuja for more reports on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Comfort. Months into the lingering strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, emerging issues now dominate discussions on the fate of Nigeria's tertiary institutions by key players in the sector. This resonated during NTA Tuesday Live with firm demands on returning the universities to session while negotiations with federal governments continue. Abubakar Apanga reports.
Many weeks have gone after the extension of the initial period of close down of public universities by ASU over the non-implementation of 2009 agreement and University Transparency Accountability Solutions (UTAS).
When they say agreement renegotiation, people don't even understand what it means. What is the content? The content is condition of service. That's the major thing there. Increase in salary for university teachers and university professionals and whatever that are in the university system. That I'm a product of the university. I can never be against that people want an increase to take you home.
The federal government, either this one or the succeeding one, will not implement the 2009 agreement in total. If it were to be so, it should have been implemented since. 2009 agreement was signed by the Yar'Adua government. You have had after Yar'Adua, you have had Jonathan, 6 years. You have had Buhari now, 7 going on 8. Isn't it clear that no federal government will implement the 2009 agreement in total?
The lingering industrial dispute has taken a toll on the students, and these players say ASU must return to negotiation table for resolution of the impasse.
On 14th of February, while discussing with us, declare a warning strike without even notifying me. Strike in itself is failure of leadership. That's what they don't know. It's failure of leadership. Both for you as head leader of the union and both for direct employers.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities speaks on the union's position on the industrial action.
What we are saying, that any day we believe in Nigeria, we believe in the university system, Nigerian leaders.
As the strike lingers, stakeholders are worried that the future of Nigeria's universities may be put in jeopardy if problems are allowed to outweigh solutions and compromises. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Now, over 64,000 pupils have benefited from the National Homegrown School Feeding Program in Ebonyi State. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, stated this while handing over feeding utensils to vendors under the program in Abakaliki, Ebonyi State capital. Kanayo Okoro reports.
762 food vendors have been gainfully engaged to cook and serve the school children. Some of the vendors, when thanking the federal government for the initiative, said the program has helped them to contribute to the upkeep of their families.
It has impacted positively to the children. This program is a nice program. We are begging the government to please increase the money from 70 to higher amounts, that the prices in the market, prices of things in the market are very high.
At least, since we started the cooking, the children, many of them that have dropped out from school, have started coming back.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, who was represented, when he handed over 20,000 utensils to government vendors drawn from the 13 council areas of the state, emphasized that the program is to encourage pupils to go to schools and also create more job opportunities, which translates to reduction in poverty level across the country.
National Homegrown School Feeding Program is one of the 4 key interventions of federal government under the National Social Investment Program, which seeks to boost school enrollment, nutrition and local economy activities in thousands of communities across the nation.
It's actually achieving the desired result, providing the enabling environment to make sure that the survival of these national social investment programs in Ebonyi State is 100% achieved.
In Abakaliki, Kana Yokoro, NTA News.
From Abakaliki, we go to Adamawa State, where a cross-section of food vendors under the Homegrown Feeding Program have described as worthwhile the initiative, as it has encouraged school enrollments across the state. The vendors stated this at a documentation and training program for cooks on hygiene and balanced diet held in Yola. Yusuf Jika reports.
The National Homegrown School Feeding Program in Adamawa State has 2,259 cooks, 1,339 schools and over 164,000 pupils benefiting from the feeding program and still counting. 42 cooks from the 21 local government areas of the state have been selected to be equipped with documentation and training on hygiene and balanced diet, and also to step down the knowledge to the other vendors.
Reducing the incidence of malnutrition, especially amongst the poor, empowering cooks while supporting local agriculture through small builder farmers, thereby stimulating economic growth through the socio-economic value chain.
So we know how to prepare a meal and making sure that the meal is well prepared.
Children whom their organs are very sensitive, they need to, the cooks need to be trained on how to handle these children.
Some vendors on the training say the benefit of the Homegrown School Feeding Program cannot be overemphasized on the societal development, saying such initiative be sustained for the overall good of the future generation.
We are working with the lives of people. They are here to train us on hygiene and how we will maintain the cook.
In Yola, Yusuf Jika, NT News.
Still on school feeding, 50 cooks have been trained on standard of the school feeding initiative in Niger State. The training, which is at the instance of the National Social Investment Program under the National Homegrown School Feeding Program, is expected to be stepped down to cooks in 25 local government areas of the state. Husseina Musa reports.
2 participants each, drawn from the 25 local government areas of Niger State, were availed knowledge to deliver well-balanced meal for pupils that meet the set standards of the program.
I've learned how to take care of my body, how to take care of the environment where I cook, and to take care of the puppies I'm cooking for.
Yeah, it's going to help me in my cooking process so as to make the food to be very neat and also to not harm the children I'm going to give the food to.
There's going to be a step-down training, which is going to be monitored by the local government desk officers for the homegrown school feeding program. They're going to train additional 20 per cook.
Is 100% sponsored by the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. We are just at the state level to ensure the full implementation and participation of the group.
Amena Hussaina Musa, NTA News.
Sokoto is where we go next on Nationwide as we join Sadia in our network studio. Hello, Sadia.
Lami. The federal government, through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, has trained youths in Kebbi State on smartphone repairs to enable them become financially self-reliant. Usman Abdullahi Shiu reports.
Hundreds of youths across the 21 local government areas of Kebbi State benefited from the federal government's N-Skills Phone Repair Training under its National Social Investment Program. The program is designed to train tool and transit unemployed youths into the labor market for gainful employment, which is in tune with the national aspiration of lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. The move was also part of the federal government's effort aimed at reducing poverty and unemployment in the country. As the 6 weeks training ends, beneficiaries are to be provided with starter packs and be deployed to master craft persons for a 6-month apprenticeship.
The beneficiaries to take very good, ample opportunity of these rare opportunities to actualize the wish to work hard for self-reliance.
Beneficiaries will be attached directly to master craft persons to enable beneficiaries to have work-based learning.
The training is designed to equip target beneficiaries with live vocational and entrepreneurship skills preparatory to the work-based learning during the 6-month apprenticeship, hoping that the program will create wealth for youths in the state. The beneficiaries thanked the federal government for the opportunity accorded them, promising to extend the skills in their various areas.
We were taught how to repair and service smartphone. So we were taught also life skills and also how to market our businesses after we've learned how to start up a market, how to start up a business.
Usman Abdullahi Shehu, NTA News.
A committee set up by Zamfara state government to investigate the alleged involvement of some monarchs in the act of terrorism bedeviling the state has presented its report. The state deputy governor, Senator Hassan Mohammed, received the long-awaited report at the government house. So, Jamil Ibrahim tells us more.
It was in June 2021, Zamfara State Governor Bello Muhammad suspended the Emir of Zurmi Alhaji Abubakar Atiku and that of Dansado Alhaji Hussein Umar over their alleged involvement in the acts of terrorism bedeviling the state. Consequently, the state government immediately constituted a committee to investigate the allegations leveled against the suspended monarchs. After about 10 months period of investigation, the committee, under the leadership of a retired Deputy Inspector General of Police and now Zamfara State Commissioner for Security and Home Affairs, Maman Ibrahim Safi, has submitted its report to the state government.
My recommendations are so explicit and so clear, and that will help the government in taking a decision.
He thanked the state government for giving them the mandate to serve in that capacity. The state deputy governor, Senator Hassan Mohammed, who received the report, applauded members of the committee for a job well done and assured that the state government will implement the recommendations contained therein.
The decision was informed by the need to further demonstrate our resolve in taking the needed action against anyone, no matter how highly placed, in the event of their involvement in banditry.
It will be recalled that Zamfara state government had in 2019 dethroned the Emir of Maru, Alhaji Abubakar Chika Ibrahim, for what it described as incontrovertible evidence that established his link with the armed bandits terrorizing the state. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
You can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on YouTube channel NTA News Online. You can also visit our Twitter at NTA News Now, our Facebook page NTA Network News, and Instagram NTA Network for updates. And that's it from here. Port Harcourt will be up next, but right after this break.
57-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Railway is the first double-track standard gauge railway to be built in West Africa. The Mobolaji Johnson train station is a masterpiece, an infrastructure that is gradually becoming an iconic building in Lagos State. The modern facilities put the station on a world map of train stations. Likewise, other new train stations across the country built to world-class standards. The train and its convenience is indeed an admirable effort, with commendations from Nigerians.
This is a station that we have to commend the federal government for putting a beautiful face, empowering us in Lagos State, not only in economic and political arena.
I can say that I'm really impressed with the infrastructures in place. Kudos to the Minister of Transportations. Kudos to the federal government.
Truly, good things are coming out of Nigeria, and the federal government is deserving of all the applause.
The broadcast media ecosystem is dynamic and requires continuous training for practitioners to perform optimally. NTA Television College JOS invites relevant officers to the following specially packaged training programs: Protocol Event Management and Public Relations, date 2nd May to 13th May 2022, 2 weeks. Video Camera Maintenance, date 16th May to 27th May 2022, 2 weeks. Basic Television Production Techniques, date 16th May to 10th June 2022, 4 weeks. Photojournalism and Photography, date 6th June to 1st July 2022, 4 weeks. Intermediate Online News Reporting Skills, date 4th July to 29th July 2022, 4 weeks. Sports Coverage and Reporting Skills in the Mass Media, date 4th July to 15th July 2022, 2 weeks. The course fee for 2 weeks courses is 150,000 naira per participant, while the fee for 4 weeks courses is 180,000 naira only, accommodation inclusive. The venue for all courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA Television College near Old Government House, Rayfield, JOS. For more inquiries, please call 0803-079-5335 or 0806-980-9807. NTA Television College, JOS, training you to be the best you want to be.
And welcome to Port Harcourt. Experts say women can only achieve good leadership when they adopt strategic planning principles and employ managerial skills. They encourage women to focus on building capacity through hard work and education to break through. Ijomo Gweke reports.
Over the years, the political space has been male-dominated, with insignificant number of women trying to find their fate. The political sphere of Nigeria, notwithstanding, has featured the likes of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Obi Ezekwesili, and Dora Akunyili in leadership positions, and records show that they made remarkable marks despite challenges. With the appreciable number of women making waves in different sectors of the economy, despite all odds, the challenge of gender equity, family responsibilities, negative stereotypes around women, experts say, have hindered women from achieving their full potential.
Education is very, very important. Not too many of our women are educated. Leadership is not an all-comers affair. You must be rooted, you must be grounded, you must have been schooled for you to be a leader. We should give everybody, male or female, the right to vie for any position, to do anything, to get to heights they want to get to. We should encourage every girl child. We should encourage every woman.
Although women are not relenting in attaining leadership positions, political analysts say with the needed support and encouragement, they can perform well. While attributing lack of focus and hard work to factors responsible to failure of women in leadership positions, they emphasize that the path to the top is not always easy, but with self-confidence, the road to success is sure. In Port Harcourt, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
Contrary to reports making the rounds that Cross River State is among states in the country with outbreak of cholera, the state government says there is no cholera outbreak in the state. Director General of Primary Development said reacting to a report on outbreak of in Cross River. Maureen Leo Ajong.
Cholera is a waterborne disease that is spread by contaminated food. It acute watery diarrhea, and if treated, can lead to death within hours. Barely a few days ago, there were reports making the rounds that there was outbreak of cholera in the state. Curious to ascertain the situation, NTA Calabar News crew visited the State Primary Health Care Development.
We got about 200 suspected cases of cholera. However, after samples were taken for confirmation or confirmatory tests, culture, a lot of them came back negative, and I think at some point it was just 2 that were positive to be cholera. So I wouldn't say Cross River State we have an outbreak. We don't have an outbreak yet, or we don't have an outbreak in Cross River State. Rather, yet we've recorded some or a few cases of cholera.
Although admitted that there were pockets of reports of cholera in the state, it was made clear that the figure is not enough to declare as cholera outbreak. However, the agency assured public of adequate surveillance put in place across the state to ensure any health emergency that may arise is addressed. She advised people to maintain and sustain good personal hygiene, especially as the rain intensifies, by practicing regular hand washing, drink clean and potable water, as well as avoid eating cold or uncovered food, open defecation, and indiscriminate refuse disposal. In Calabar, Maureen Leo Ajom, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's now back to Lami in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Jenny. Now, the House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts wants officials of the Federal Ministry of Trade and Industry to explain how 2.6 trillion naira capital allowance was granted to MTN. The issue came up following audit queries from the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation relating to tax evasion. Capital allowance is the amount spent on business assets which can be subtracted from what the business owes in tax. 2.6 trillion naira is the amount said to have been granted to MTN as capital allowances by the Federal Inland Revenue Service based on certification of the Federal Ministry of Trade and Industry. This was queried as tax evasion by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation, which is why the House Committee on Public Accounts is conducting this investigation.
The basis of Auditor General's query is that such instruments are prone to being falsified. We want to have proof of how you arrive at the figure and how industry also arrive at the figure before issuing you that certificate.
General Manager MTN Yemisi Adebayo told the committee that the capital allowances were granted to the company following claims it made and subsequent physical inspection of its assets at selected locations by officials of the ministry.
They visited Ikoyi Switch on the 3rd of December. A six-man team visited Ikoyi Switch. Mr. Anete Omoesen, Joseph Alaki, Eyitope Aina Oshinowo, Smiler Ibrahim, Abu Hakim, and George Alioke.
And where they were? Ikoyi?
Yes, the Ikoyi Switch, sir.
So how much was the value of assets given to you?
Okay, 2020 relating to 2019 assessment, 219 billion, 178 million, 186,000.
The committee has invited officials of the Federal Ministry of Trade and Industry involved in the inspection of the assets at various locations in the country. Now, there is need for governments to fund political parties' activities adequately in order to curb exorbitant nomination and expression of interest forms for elective positions. Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria were reacting to cost of nomination and expression of interest forms for elective positions for the 2023 general election said political parties shouldn't be commercialized. Uyemi Ajayi has the details.
Expensive and overtly exorbitant nomination and expression of interest forms for elective positions for the 2023 general elections at state and national levels had continually generated reactions from the public. While the All Progressives Congress APC pegged its presidential nomination form to 100 million naira, the People's Democratic Party PDP and the All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA put theirs at 40 million naira and 25 million naira respectively. These guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria expressed their reservations.
Members don't pay their membership dues anymore. They don't pay. In fact, parties have to look for money to even give to some. Let's now wait for this time when people that are able and willing voluntarily appear that I want to use your platform to contest for an election.
The younger generations that are upcoming, who may not have the financial muscle to pay for these forms, are out of the race. Now, if that is the case, we should look at this as a framework, as an ideological stand base.
The guests emphasized that parties must look beyond commercialization and shift from the elitist ideology.
Parties need to be organized, and the organizational structure of the political parties, that is, if these political parties want to woo members, will require that these parties will have to look at what happens at the ward levels.
Parties need to rethink their membership recruitment and membership retention mechanism.
They agreed that parties need to go back to the basis on the reason why members have refused to pay their membership dues. Also, the parties need to be managed by individuals who uphold political tenets. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
And up next is Sports Update with Kene Ima Abudike.